Hi. Welcome everyone to Ulster County Women's Network 4th Zoom event. I'm Leslie Snow, President of UCWN, and we're fortunate to have with us today Mary Ann Hayes and Susan Diamond, both members of our group. Thank you both for coming. Let me first introduce the members of our advisory committee. We have Gloria Wasselin, raise your hand. Vice President, social media maven and historian. Judy Kerman, our editor. Rachel Jackson and Sheila Gould, our community relations coordinators. And Kristen Winger, our dynamic duo coordinator. Thank you all for helping me keep this organization going and making it meaningful for our members and friends. Before we go further, let's take a few moments of silence to acknowledge our grief for the 163,000 people who have died and the millions who have suffered from this pandemic, and for us also who have also suffered. So, any way you wish to honor them, this. And thank you. Kristen?
Thank you. Thank you all for joining this evening and for the presentation, Juggling Health and Wealth in Uncertain Times. And as Leslie said, we're happy to have two Ulster County Women's Network members presenting tonight. Mary Ann Hayes, who's a health and wellness advisor for Hayes Healthy Living with Shackley and owner of Classic Cutters Unisex Salon since 1988, and a Reiki Master Sensei for 5 years. And Susan Diamond, MSW, Director of Philanthropy and Women's Health for the Power Forward Group, PFG. And I know they're both going to talk more about themselves. And we will take questions at the end of the presentation, but as your questions come up, during the next hour, please put them in the chat box and we'll make sure that they get addressed at the end. And it is now my pleasure to introduce our first presenter for the evening, Mary Ann Hayes.
Thank you, Kristen and Leslie. I appreciate it. We can start with the first slide, if you would, Leslie. Okay, I'm going to discuss with you today 6 ways to support your immune system. Next slide, please. So again, I'm Mary Ann Hayes with Hayes Healthy Living with Shackley. I'm the co-founder of the Hudson Valley Health Initiative, owner of Classic Cutters Unisex Salon, Healing Touch Reiki, and I'm a Reiki master and holistic alternative healer, and a health and wellness advisor, and I'm helping others to have a healthier life with financial freedom. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself and how I got started with the Shackley Company. Now, before Shackley, I was running my salon and working an additional part-time job at a local college. I worked 6 to 7 days a week, and I thought my health and everything were okay. Then one cold winter night, in the middle of the night, I had a heart attack at 54 years old. And I ended up in the hospital. So my cardiologist told me that I had a 100% blocked artery and I shouldn't have survived. And I ended up in the cath lab where they inserted a stent. So I made the decision right then about improving my health, my diet, and my lifestyle. And I never realized how tired and stressed that I really was. And my doctor suggested vitamins and several supplements, but when I asked if there was a brand that he could recommend, their answer was to go to the health food store, the or the drugstore, any brand should be fine. And I wasn't satisfied with that. So I started looking for a quality brand to no avail. Then one day, one of my friends told me about Shaklee. And what inspired me when I saw the company was focused on health and wellness, and there was a networking opportunity for me. So since I own a salon, it just made sense. So when I found out I could make a passive residual income that would help me with retirement, I decided to join the Shaklee Corporation. And coincidentally for me, it included supplementation that I was looking for. And what impressed me the most was the science, clinical studies, the quality and the efficacy of the Shaklee products. And it was exactly what I needed. I threw away all my other vitamins that I was taking and started with the heart regimen and the vitalizer strip and life shakes. And I felt better and had more energy all day after using the supplements. And the shakes are actually delicious. Now today I'm more focused and energetic. My fatigue and stress, bam, they're gone. My Shaklee business has become my plan B since I couldn't work during the COVID-19 outbreak. It provided me with a monthly income and a business that I could work from home. I no longer stress about having a retirement plan. Now I have a leverage to make that passive residual income I need to retire. So here I am today sharing that information with you as well. Next slide, please. Hit it once more. Okay, so 6 ways to help support your immune system. So in today's climate, it's really important to build a healthy immune system, and we all need all the help that we can get. So I'll be talking about steps we can take to strengthen our immune system with nutrition, some proper sleep, stress reduction, some deep breathing and meditation, exercise, supplementation, and keeping our kids healthy, which is really important. And I will be making recommendations of supplementation to help towards a healthy immune system. Next slide. The immune system is made up of different organ cells and proteins, and it's one of the most complex systems in the human body. Next. It protects the body like a guardian from harmful influences from the environment, and it's essential for all of our survival. Next. Here's a little video with the science behind immunity with Dr. Bruce Daggy, Dr. Jamie McManus, and Dr. Alexis Smith. Oh, I can't hear it, Leslie. You got to go to view options and hit include sound, I believe.
Every day, our bodies are under attack by pathogens and dangerous microbes surrounding us with an unseen, unfelt, undeniable health threat that can cause illness. Now, your body has a built-in defense system, the immune system, but it's under constant attack too, from poor nutrition, stress, fatigue, and environmental assaults. Fortunately, there are some simple steps you can take every day to support your immune system so it's ready to fight whatever challenges come its way.
The best approach is preventative, to build up and support your immune cells on a daily basis, because it's not just cold and flu season that we're concerned about. First of all, immune function declines with age. Also, poor nutrition, pollution and chemical exposures, too much stress, and not enough sleep or exercise, these can all hinder your immune response.
Lifestyle choices can make a difference. You can choose to develop healthier habits to support your immune system. Simple things like washing your hands after contact with germy situations, eating healthy, getting enough rest, lowering stress, and getting regular exercise.
The way the immune system works is by scanning for and defending against pathogens, anything it recognizes as abnormal or foreign to the body, from cancer to the common cold.
The entire digestive tract is a primary entry path for pathogens. Fortunately, there's a whole host of beneficial microorganisms at work in a healthy intestinal tract, and supplemental pre and probiotics can help maintain that balance. To keep the immune system in peak condition, good nutrition is key. Protein is a key nutrient because the immune system actually needs to build structures like new cells and new proteins to battle pathogens. Antioxidants support and protect cellular integrity. And lipids like omega-6 and omega-3 play multiple roles, including controlling the inflammatory response. In terms of vitamins and minerals to support immune health, I recommend iron, zinc, copper, selenium, and magnesium. Also vitamins A, D, E, and of course the antioxidant hero, vitamin C.
Supplemental vitamin C's role in fighting colds has been widely researched. In a recent meta-analysis by the University of Helsinki, researchers found 31 studies indicating vitamin C not only reduces the duration, but also the severity of cold symptoms. Vitamin C also reduced the incidence of colds by half in 5 studies of participants who've been exposed to short periods of extreme physical stress.
What's particularly important to know is that if you want the benefits of vitamin C, you need to have it on board before you're exposed. You can't take it on the day of exposure or after you've been exposed and expect to get the same results as if you took it daily.
When you're feeling fatigued or stressed, or know you're heading into a risky environment, boosting your vitamin C intake can help.
When it comes to your health, we believe small steps can add up to big results. And that's especially true with your immune system. To give your immune system a fighting chance, start by making sure that you reduce your daily stress levels. Try to exercise regularly and get enough quality sleep and good nutrition. Be well.
Next slide. So like the doctors told us just there, there's so many ways to support your immune system. Take your multivitamin, eat healthy, exercise daily. Make sure you wash your hands and get plenty of sleep and take an immune support supplement. And we still, again, we want to keep our kids healthy. Next slide. So the optimum nutrition is the key. So protein is especially important. Choose lean meats, fish, and poultry. Fruits and vegetables, nutrients your body needs like antioxidants, vitamin C, A, and minerals such as zinc and magnesium, and get plenty of whole grains and beans and legumes, and eat healthy fats like omega-3 acids and monounsaturated fats. Next slide. Now, I don't know about you, but I have a hard time sometimes making that healthy choice every day. So every day can be challenging for all of us. Next slide. So sleep helps support a healthy immune system. If you go to bed at the same time and get up the same time daily, that's going to help a lot. Turn off your electronics an hour before because they're too stimulating. No caffeine, of course. Avoid alcohol. It may make you drowsy and fall asleep, but in the middle of the night, it causes awakening. And exercise. Your mind relaxes easier when your body is tired. Next slide. Now we're going to do a 1-minute breathing meditation now. So if everyone would close their eyes for a moment and start to breathe and inhale to the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And exhale. And inhale. And feel your face soften. And exhale. And then inhale again. And exhale. And feel your legs start to relax. Your feet relax. And now breathe normally. And allow your arms, your torso, your shoulders to drop and relax. And just listen to the sound of your breath. And now we're going to come back and continue with our webinar. And I know this was really nice, but we have to move on. Next slide. So be sure to exercise at least 2.5 hours a week. That increases the heart rate, and do something to build muscle. Next. So I'm introducing Shaklee, and we have 5 amazing industries that we're in. We have a Healthy Foundations, which are our essential plans with vitamins and shakes, our healthy solutions for targeted or specific issues. We have a Healthy Weight program, 180 weight loss, our Healthy Beauty with organic youth organic skincare. And we have a Healthy Home with our green cleaning, biodegradable, Get Clean products. And we also have sports nutrition. I really don't want to leave that one out. Next slide. So who really needs to have a healthy immune system? So most importantly, our teachers and our kids from grade school, especially through college, they need immune support as they're exposed to so many people throughout their day. Next. Let's go video with our
because they have superpowers. I would like to be a superhero because you can fly and save the world.
Behold the powers of Shaklee Kids. Super smart, super safe, super nutritious supplements to bring out the best in kids. Shaklee Kids Mighty Smart Choice is scientifically formulated with a power-packed blast of ultra-pure DHA. Nothing fishy or funny here, folks. Just 100% natural DHA goodness in a yummy orange chew your Shaklee Kid will love. Shaklee Kids Incredivites is the first kids chewable multivitamin in the U.S. with lactoferrin to help kids' immune system stay supercharged. Packed with 23 essential nutrients, Incredivites is the world's best kids supplement. Tooth-friendly and taste bud pleasing. Just 2 a day, save the day. Shaklee Kids. Super smart, super safe, super nutritious. From Shaklee.
They're so cute, aren't they? Next slide. So who else needs it? It would be contractors like carpenters, tree experts, roofers, blacktoppers, landscapers. They all need energy and hydration throughout their day. Next. Estheticians and nutritionists, they offer skincare and supplementation in their daily practices. And personal trainers also need energy and hydration throughout their day. And I also want to mention our healthcare workers as well. They need immune support most, I believe, right now, and that energy to make it through their day to help us. So next. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about interferons. I know this is a little scientific, but interferons are a group of signaling proteins made and released by a host cell in response to the presence of several viruses. In a typical scenario, a virus-infected cell will release interferons causing nearby cells to heighten their antiviral defenses. Scientists and medical communities have identified interferon as being crucial to a healthy immune function. Next slide. Nutriferon is designed for those looking to help maintain a healthy immune function. And Nutriferon from Shaklee, it's the only dietary supplement in the US created by the discoverer of interferon, Dr. Kojima. And he spent decades screening hundreds of botanicals to identify natural interferon boosters. Next slide. So Shaklee makes it really simple. They do a foundation for a healthier life. Next slide. So why the Life Shake? Well, there's 20 grams of protein. They're low glycemic, cholesterol-free, 6 grams of fiber, non-GMO, gluten-free, vegan, dairy-free, and powered by leucine, which actually builds muscle while you're losing fat. It comes in a new French vanilla, a new dark chocolate flavor, strawberry cafe latte. Next slide. And why the Vitalizer? All the vitamins and minerals and probiotics in one convenient strip. And it's for men, women, and gold formula for those of us for over 50. Next slide. So why not use Shaklee or join me in this journey? You can start with an immunity challenge pack with a free Nutriferon or a Prove It challenge pack with a free 7-day healthy cleanse, both with free membership and free shipping. And you can add, if you'd like, to start a business for only $49.95, work from anywhere and get paid daily. And I'll put my website and info in the chat. Next slide. And if you'd like to start your own health journey today, take a screenshot of my info here. And thank you so much for allowing me to share my story with you. with you today, and I'd like you all to be well. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Marianne. Now we'll move to Susan Diamond. Susan?
All right, can everybody hear me? Yeah, okay. Oh, hi. Thanks for having me today. It's great to be here. So as Kristen had mentioned earlier, I'm the Director of Women's Wealth with the Power Forward Group, and we're a full service advisory team for all your financial and estate planning needs. Just a little more about me in terms of I'm a financial consultant, or I like to refer to myself as a social change agent who is passionate about women's economic empowerment. So we can go to the next slide, Leslie.
I'm trying to figure out the record, the advanced option where you just record a portion of the screen. Oh, here it is. Portion. 1 second.
You just have to kind of move it around a little bit, yeah. There we go. Okay. So I'm on a mission actually to get as many women talking about money as I can, because when women are stronger financially, everyone is better off. So I entered the financial field not as an economist or a financial planner, but actually as a social worker in my past life. But I was very interested in attitudes and emotional reactions to money, because we know money is so much more than currency, and specifically the gender of money, because as women, we think about and experience money differently. And even though we have more money and power than we've ever had before, we're still earning less money, we're still putting less money away, and we have a longer end game to play than our male counterparts. So I've spent several years researching the kinds of challenges that women face around relationships with money. And the three things that are prevalent are: one, women are not talking about money or their financial wellness enough. Two, increasing confidence and self-belief are key to balancing your financial power. And three, well, you know, when you're stressing about money, it's a whole lot harder to start to create financial freedom for yourself. So I take what I consider to be a holistic approach to financial planning, and that starts with understanding your money story. Understanding your money story is going to tell you how you feel about yourself and how your mindset determines your financial circumstances. And without that, it's kind of really tough to change some behaviors. So to add to that, I founded the Empower Her community, which is a community to help women who are still struggling from a lack of confidence and growing anxiety when it comes to their money. And as the facilitator, I host Gender of Money Mornings, which is a live broadcast that I focus on helping women create a better relationship with their money. And of course, virtual workshops such as this one. And the mission of the Empower Her community is really to help women kind of unleash and balance their financial power. And this endeavor is powered by the Power Forward Group. And our team has 50 years combined experience and is fully equipped to help women at any stage of their financial journey. So that's just a little bit about me. So if you want to go to the next slide, Leslie. So who's stressed about money right now? Nobody? Only me? I guess everybody else must be in a good place. So one of the things is, in order to juggle wealth, we need to start by taking care of what I consider our money mindset and our money beliefs. And it's again, it's about how you think about money, how you react to money, how you communicate about money, and your beliefs are going to cause you to take action or not, which lead to the results that you have with money. So when I talk about results, do you spend every penny you make? Do you have credit card debt? Do you have an emergency fund that's been able to help you and carry you through COVID? Are you good at putting money away in terms of investing? So our mindset affects how you manage your money, right? So it's going to drive how we make key financial decisions every day. And one of the things that the American Psychological Association says that the number one factor for stressing women out is anxiety and stress around money. So then, crisis pulls us. You think about COVID and what does crisis do to us? Well, it kind of pulls us back into our negative talk and has a tendency for us to look back sometimes, oh God, I wish I'd paid that credit card off when I was thinking about it earlier this year, or if I'd started my emergency fund when I first thought about it last year, I'd be okay right now. So then we kind of fast forward to the current situation, and most women that I'm talking to are feeling stressed and overwhelmed right now because COVID is having a greater impact on women. And part of that's directly due to the industries that have been impacted because there are more women in those industries. And then so we have the uncertainty of the economy, although it's starting to, bounce back. But we also have the uncertainty about job security, whether people have been furloughed and they're worried about, is my employment going to continue? And then we still don't know. They say the schools are going back. But if you're trying to juggle, work, you're working from home, then you're having to educate children while you're at home as well. That's a huge amount of stress. And what happens is, this can create fear. And when we live in fear, we make bad decisions. So some of us will have triggered what we refer to as a fear-based response that will cause more stress and anxiety. And when this happens, kind of our rational minds get pushed aside and our emotions tend to predominate. So it's not like we can think our way out of anxiety because our thoughts tend to feed the anxiety. So it's easy for our mind to kind of lead us down that fearful path of the possibility of losing our job, to not being able to pay our mortgage, to potentially being evicted and not having a home to live in. And this can happen all in a matter of seconds. And this is our brain's response in terms of our fight-flight response to fear. And you know what? This was super useful, I guess, when we were evolving out of the cave, and less useful today, because we're not going to be eaten by a lion, but instead are worried about money, jobs, and relationships. So a key to this is not to let kind of our thoughts run away with us, because most of us don't really control what we think. And knowing how and where the anxiety shows up in our body will start to alert us to our stress. So if you check in how you feel when you're engaging in any type of behavior that's involving money. So ask yourself, when you're looking at your checkbook, does that cause your heart to race, or do you feel nauseous? Or do you find yourself comparing your financial situation to that of others? And how does that make you feel? Because we also have this culture in terms of, the more things that we can show in terms of whether it be homes or vehicles, as a society, it infers that we're doing well. And, where in your body do you feel this? Because when we're in touch with ourselves, we can start to begin to see our reactions for what they are. And fear-based, if we think about that, it is just fear, and it's a reaction and the result of often a past relationship with money. But if we accept those feelings in our body and start to recognize them and recognize that this is not permanent, then that will start to pass. So we can go to the next slide, Leslie. Okay. So when we think about, how can you cope with the financial stress and anxiety in today's environment? Well, choosing to simply not deal with these financial tasks is akin to, I'd say not going to the doctor when you should. So I like to quote Ortega, a philosopher. He stated, "Everyday life gets fired at us point blank, and we get to choose our response. We write, act out, and produce our daily play." So sometimes, it's not always comfortable when we're dealing with the stress around money, but, with the right resources and plans in place, you can start to feel much better about that. And just like your physical well-being, your financial well-being is just as important and should not be ignored. So we can go to the next slide, Leslie. So one of the things, that we look at, the importance difference is thinking about what can't we control and what can we control, because a lot of anxiety stems from not knowing what will happen with regard to the coronavirus or how long it's going to be. But we know we can't control that. We know we can't control the market, but we can control our behavior. So we need to kind of take a step back and look at, okay, all right, so if I'm worried about future unemployment or, the furlough situation because I won't be earning as much, well, what can you do about that? Well, you can take responsibility and start to look at what resources are available to you and finding out about that. If you're faced with unemployment, you can set boundaries for yourself in terms of information overload. I know Leslie had mentioned earlier, there's only so much news you can take in a day. And, if we're listening to the news, we're reading everything online, it can become really stressful and very overwhelming. So just set some expectations or boundaries around that in terms of how much you're reading. As Marianne was saying, part of this is prioritizing health as well, making sure you're eating and sleeping, because if you're not doing that, then again, you're likely to make bad decisions, both financially and personally. And we can't help ourselves sometimes with the negative stories, and if we can kind of take, a step back from that and start to control what we're thinking, then we're going to be in a better place. And, preparation. We may not have been in a good place when we entered COVID. I know in the past, women would typically say to me, well, if I have an emergency fund, how long do you think I need that for? And I would typically say between 3 and 6 months. Well, after COVID, it's 6 months at least, so if you are dealing with a situation and you lose unemployment or your husband loses his job, that you're able to kind of travel that wave without worrying about it in terms of being able to pay your mortgage and rent, etc. And, it's recognizing that it's natural to feel an underlying anxiety is really helpful, because then we can recognize our desire for a sense of control. So, take care of your mental health, don't take risks, and also kind of save on those small daily costs. Think about that. Yes, we want to support our local restaurants, but not at your own expense. And I know being at home, it's kind of easy to buy those extra movies for entertainment, but that kind of stuff adds up. And the online shopping, I know a lot of people are saying to me, oh, well, I'm not spending as much money because I'm not traveling to work anymore, so I can shop more. And it's like, well, maybe you should consider how you can support yourself for the future, especially if you don't have an emergency fund, in terms of saving some of those monies. So we can go to the next slide, Leslie. So January of this year, people were, I would say, more on the excited cycle of the emotions, and the thrill, because the market was doing really well. And then by March, you know, the market had reacted to all the grim news and ongoing uncertainty being taken by investors. And it took us for a roller coaster ride, which, you know, created a lot of fear and panic. And this has a tendency to cause people to pull out of the market. So one of the things that I've been asked a lot in the last couple of months, oh, should I pull my money out of the market? And it all depends. Everybody's different. But the thing is, if you've consistently contributed to a retirement or investment accounts over the last 10 years, then you've been buying at a higher price. And if you stop contributing now or you pull out, especially if you don't need that money, then that means you're not getting the opportunity to buy in at lower prices because stocks have been on sale. So the market's been around since 1792, and it's proven that on average, US stocks have an annualized growth of around 7 to 10% over a 20-year period. So if you have the right money mindset and strategy, you can be the successful investor, no matter what the market does if you stick to the strategy. And understanding this is key to kind of helping you with your financial success. So I do like to share that, you know, as we transition to the hope phase, we have to remember that hope is not a strategy and prayer certainly isn't a plan for us. So we can go to the next slide, Leslie. So to kind of support what I'm saying in regards to, you know, over a lengthy period of time, we have what we refer to as the rule of 72, which is, you know, compound interest calculation to help you estimate how long it will take to double your money. So you can see here the different interest rates and the length of time it takes to double. But as I mentioned, the market over 20 years is anywhere between 7 to 10%. So if you see here at 6%, you know, you can double your money in 12 years. So we can go to the next slide, Leslie. So I like to share what I refer to as the financial freedom buckets. And financial planning can certainly be a very complex subject. And I always encourage to take baby steps because anything, if you take it head on, can become very overwhelming. And, you know, that's when we tend to take a step back and, you know, either put our head in the sand and start ignoring stuff. And as I say, it is often overwhelming for many people to think about it. But however, if you're not thinking about it, then it's not really in your best option either. So I share with my clients our 3-bucket approach to financial planning. And the idea behind this is to kind of break it up and help, you know, people understand that you can divide your money into different segments. And by doing this, it's going to allow you to think about your money in different ways. And in turn, it's going to help you more easily identify what some of your financial goals are and, you know, certainly put your money into action, because we work really hard for our money. So we want to make sure that our money is working just as hard for us, right? I mean, one of the things that the 20th century has done, it's added 30 years to retirement. So, you know, if you think you're retiring at 65 and women are living to the median saying between 85 and 90, then we've got to make sure that, you know, we have enough money that's going to help maintain whatever type of lifestyle we want. And I'm a big proponent of helping people understand it's not about how much money you earn, it's how much you put away. So I come across people who earn 3 times as much as some people, and they're spending all their money, they're not putting any away. And the person that's earning a third is actually building their financial security for the future. So again, it's not about how much money you make. So like the focus bucket, so that would be for 1 to 5 years. And this is where you keep your money that you think you're going to need within the next 1 to 5 years. And it's got to be safe and it's got to be liquid. So for example, an emergency fund that allows, you know, immediate access to your money and can be used for anything that can't be paid for. out of cash flow that will happen in the next 6 to 12 months. Opportunity funds, those are really, including planning large expense items within the next 5 years. Are you going to need a new car? Are you going to need a new roof on the house? Then there's the flexibility bucket, which, this is about, I like to say, your goal bucket or maybe your dream bucket. And if you don't need the money for between 5 and 10 years, or in this case, up to 15 years, that allows you immediate access to money. And this can be used for anything that can't be, take a step back. So this is if you don't need it for that time period. And you can keep the money in your flexibility bucket, but it should be used as a planned income source for like the first phase of retirement. So you set it up for growth to help offset inflation, because then as you get older, then you're likely to want to take less risk also. So your future bucket is, for retirement, we generally say above 60. And, this is long-term growth and legacy planning money. So any funds that you've saved specifically to provide income for when you retire. Because these you don't want to be accessing because they are subject to early withdrawal penalties prior to reaching age 59 and a half, although that's kind of been waived for this year for COVID. So what the bucket approach does is it's going to help you easily identify your goals, which is the first thing you need to do when you're putting any type of financial plan together, because this is going to determine exactly what you want to accomplish. And we can go to the next slide, Leslie. So I feel it's always important to emphasize, because I meet a lot of women who don't have wills, and especially if they've got younger children. I just say, wills are not for the elderly or those with significant assets. If you have kids, you need a will. Otherwise, family court will decide who gets guardianship of your kids, and any assets you leave behind will be managed by someone they identify. Durable power of attorney to direct your medical care and allow a trusted family member or friend to manage your affairs. I mean, my parents are in their mid-80s, and my mum I was in England a couple of times last year because my mum had a fall, and we were kind of sorting out stuff. And I'd said to my dad, I was like, if something happened to you, if you had a heart attack or a stroke and, you were in a coma, what would you want to happen? And he said, I don't know. And I'm like, Dad, I have 3 siblings. So I said, if you don't know, how are your 4 kids going to know what you want to happen? I said, and we could each have a different perception of what we think you would want to happen. So I said, don't leave that decision up to us. You need to determine that so we can make the right choice for you. Sufficient life insurance, just making sure, the employer often provides insurance, but it's typically term. And then once you leave, then, you don't have any insurance. So just making sure that, you're covered well there. And account aggregation, like having a one-stop shop in terms of planning, because again, if something happens to you and your children or one of your children has to come in and take responsibility, you need to make sure that they can access things easily to take care, because it's going to be stressful enough, whether it be for your spouse or whether it be for your children, to deal with the loss of a parent or a spouse. But making sure you have everything, in one place and all your ducks in a row is important. So we can go to the next slide, Leslie. I'm just looking at time. I need to move a little quicker. Okay, so as we look at this slide, how you manage your money is a reflection of how you manage your life. So your financial circumstances can impact your emotional stability and impact every area of your life. So when we look at this, I think, your income is your foundation of your financial situation. Spending determines whether or not you have debt or you have money to save or invest, right? So if you don't have any debt, you should feel really good about your ability not to spend more than you earn. But not having debt doesn't necessarily equate to being in control of your money or your financial future, right? And if you're not saving and investing, you're not building financial stability. And the only way to build financial security is by increasing your assets and your savings and investments. So, as I said before, it's not about what you make, it's about what you keep. It's about understanding, do I have the ability with what I'm making to take care of my basic needs? And if not, what adjustments do I need to make? Because money for women, this is just a tool. It's a mechanism for us to accomplish what matters most to us, right? So I think the other thing is I just like to emphasize, planning brings clarity and helps reduce stress as well as build confidence. And being prepared allows you to adapt versus being reactive, because we have control over whether we prepare or not, right? So it doesn't matter whether you start slow or start small, but just make sure you start. And the earlier you start, the better, but it's never too late to start. So I'd like to just share the next slide, Leslie. This quote by Rumi, it's your road and yours alone. Others may walk it with you, but no one can run it for you. So we can go to the last slide, Leslie. So I just wanted to share with you, I look to help women get through everything from unexpectedly working from home to what to do, with market volatility, if it's pushing financial anxiety to peak levels. And, our financial wellness is about chatting and, helping you wade through those uncertain financial times. So I just mentioned I'm offering to anybody who's interested a complimentary financial wellness consultation, and it's more about a little discovery session, just in terms of learning more about you, learning a little more about me, and seeing if we can be a resource to you or not. We have the Empower Her community. I'll share that in the chat if you're interested in joining. It's a private Facebook group, or you can be on the mailing list. We do a number of events at the Gender and Money Mornings, and I do these virtual presentations. So if you belong to any other groups and you've found value in what I've been saying, you think, the other groups that you're associated with might find value, I'm happy to do a virtual workshop. So, and that's it from me. Oops.
Thank you to Susan and Marianne. Thank you so much for your very thorough presentations. I don't see any questions in the chat box, so I don't know if anybody has questions that they want to plug in or pose to our speakers.
I just wanted to say thank you, and it's interesting. People, they don't realize stress and anxiety, they are energy, and that energy can cause your body to produce different proteins. And if you're so stressed out all the time with the sympathetic nervous system, that your body won't produce the kind of immunity that we need to protect ourselves. Just right back to, it's that circle that Marianne was talking about. So I think I want to try some of that interferon.
All right, well, if there are no questions, I can talk a little bit about what's happening in the next couple months. September's a little bit up in the air, so we'll be in touch about the September presentation. For October 13th, our dynamic duo is Myrna Samath and Susan Metzger. And our presenter will be Dare Thompson from the League of Women Voters. And, certainly a timely presentation. She'll be discussing the suffrage movement, which I think should be really exciting and interesting given the anniversary that's coming up. And also talking about the power of the women's vote and voice. So we're happy to have DARE working on that. And thank you, Myrna and Susan, for putting that together. And in November 10th, we have Judy Kerman and Shelley Pario, who are the dynamic duo for that month. And we will be showcasing the work of some of our member artists. So I think that should be really exciting. And again, thank you, Susan and Shelley, for putting that together.
So, yes, I guess we're going to wind up. But thank you so much for coming and your continued support for Ulster County Women's Network. We really enjoy having you in the group. And we can stay on a few more minutes if y'all would like to chat or have any other questions that you've just thought of. But I just want you to know that during this time, I found some joy in this community that we have to counteract our grief in this time. So please know that we are here for you. And remember too that this too shall pass. So I must stay here.
I want to thank you too again, also everyone, for allowing me to share my story as well.
Thank you, Marianne. So we're on. Great job.
Well, I have to hop off and feed my cats. They've been driving me crazy.
For that. Did that the screen sharing work okay?
Yeah, it was fine. Yeah, thank you.
Got the sound going on that video?
Yeah,
Okay, good.
it was fine.
I just wanted to say it was really good to link health and financial, because the stress is related, and it was a very good presentation that both of you gave. So, thank you.
Thank you.
No doubt. Well, I have some money issues.
I think we all do right now. It's because I'm partial capacity as well.
Yeah, we were able to pay most of our debts off, and that was good.
Yeah.
Don't need to have a big chunk of cash and some saving for retirement. Yeah. Oops, I can't hear you. Unmute yourself, Susan.
Okay. I think when I talk from the perspective of planning, it's about having control over your life, right? It's like you're in a better situation to control situations. So, and you're in control of your financial power. Otherwise, your money's controlling you. So, I know sometimes it can be a little overwhelming to think about the planning aspect, but you do it in small steps. And as you achieve one step, it's like anything, you feel good, you've achieved it, and then you can move on to the next step, and it builds up your confidence. And as you're doing that, you're, expanding your knowledge base on that as well. Because I think, one of the reasons that I focus on this is because women, number one, out of the gate, we're earning less money. So white women, it's 80 cents to the dollar. Black and Hispanic women, it's less. So what does that do? So if we're putting money away, we're putting less money away. And then we're in and out of the workforce having children, and or the sandwich effect in terms of taking care of aging parents. So again, we may not be putting money away. And then when we look at it, we live longer. So males from the get-go are putting more money away, and at the end of the day have more money and don't live as long as women. And the other thing is, again, as we live longer, well, that's great, but unfortunately, especially if we're not taking care of ourselves, then we're going to be dealing with chronic disease, disability, and there's all those things. And it's like, you know, when I talk to women, they're like, oh, I'm just not going to think about it. But, you know, it's not going to help you in the end, right? So, but.
Oh, excuse me.
Thank you, Sue. You know, everything was really informative. I really enjoyed your presentation. I thought it was enlightening. I mean, I do have my financials planned pretty well out, but it does make a lot of things much clearer. I'm going to be 60 this year, and, you know, looking at your charts and things like that, I may take you up on that evaluation.
Right. It's really about keying again. You know, it's what you want. What does your life look like for you? What are your hopes? What are your dreams? And then kind of identifying, well, okay, how much is it going to cost me to maintain that lifestyle? So then you have an idea of how much money you're going to need, and you have a goal then. Okay, I know I need to kind of aim for this goal. But again, you know, it's like, I think women, we're great at multitasking. We're great entrepreneurs. I meet so many amazing women who have all these different streams of passive incomes as well. You know, in a lot of instances, they're I guess businesses that they really enjoy and they're passionate about, and they're like, you know what, as long as I'm healthy, I'm going to continue to do this, you know, till I'm no longer here. So I think, you know, as women, we're great when it comes to that. So, and thank you for your presentation as well.
Oh, you're so welcome.
I gotta have more vitamin C in my diet.
Okay, well, I guess we'll end it there. It's really fun, and thank you so much for coming and being on all our deadlines and everything. So it was certainly worth it. Enjoyed it. Thank you. Ta-ta.